Good morning. This is Bible is Redpill once again. So I decided to go through TikTok yesterday out of curiosity to see where people's minds are at, and typed in Redpill, and of course, you're going to see a bunch of females and then even some men going against it. Let me explain what Redpill is, and then I'll talk about feminism, because it's basically feminism versus Redpill. So Redpill is basically saying, like, hey, I know young men, you've been taught your whole lives, especially this modern generation, that being a man is bad and being masculine is toxic, unless it's a woman being masculine. Let's add that in there. But being a man is masculine is bad. Having testosterone, having a deep voice, trying to stay in shape, not just simping over a woman and doing whatever she asks just because she's beautiful. It's basically controlling your lust and all those things. But somehow with Andrew Tate and other people, now it's turned into like, oh, these small penis energy guys that drive sports cars and sleep around and this and that. It's like, no, that's just a bunch of dudes capitalizing on the fact that men have been berated and beat down mentally in the court system and in the court of public opinion, that being a man is masculine, having standards is bad. If you care about how many how many men and women that slept with before you, it's small penis energy. If you don't want her wearing clothes and advertising herself to other people in person or online, then you're an incel or you're insecure. But what it boils down to is that similar, just like basically what happened in the Garden of Eden, is feminism. In that moment, Satan basically gave her an extra option of like, you know what, instead of you being a helpmate like the God who created everything we see, designed for you to be, and for the man to be the leader, now what God designed you, Eve for, is a bad thing all of a sudden. You need to rebel against that. You should have your own thought process and all this other kind of stuff, which she already had. God gave us free will when he created both man and woman. But basically, it's almost like a CEO is placed in a position, and then you are hired as, whatever is right under the CEO, for him to be your leader. Even if you're, yes, equal as far as like value in the eyes of God, but all of a sudden there's a creepy janitor that whispers to you in the hallway like, hey, you should be the CEO. You shouldn't, have to listen to him. You're smarter than him. Look at you. And you're beautiful. Look at you. Look at your body. Look at your long hair. And all of a sudden, that convinced you to rebel against the CEO and whoever placed him in that position, the board of directors or whatever. And all of a sudden, they're toxic and they're evil. And that's what's been on and popping ever since the beginning of time, literally. Now, for the rest of you, lost women or men that don't believe the Bible or don't believe there's a God, and you think that you're just here by accident through evolution, that you should just do whatever you want, and you don't believe in the consequences, eternal consequences, I'm not talking to you. But I'm talking about to the females and the men that are females and males that supposedly say they believe in Christ and the Bible. So feminism basically is rebellion against men and God's design and authority. It's really against God. Let's just keep it a buck. So a lot of men, we shouldn't even take it personal. If women are saying, oh, I don't want to have babies and I don't want to raise them, I want to have a career, and I want to sleep around with a bunch of men and I don't care about who I give my body to, that's in rebellion against God, not us. Unfortunately, it leaves less wives for some men out there to be able to find and start a family with, but these women are doing it to themselves. And just like how women were easily convinced in the garden by Satan to do whatever, women are still being easily convinced to do a bunch of things through feminism, Netflix shows, TikTok especially, Instagram, telling them that men aren't anything and that women are, women don't need men. And even though you see the roads that you drive on every day, the cell phone in your hand, and numerous other things that men are doing to keep the country running, or any country in the world running. The infrastructure, the water system, all sorts of things. You guys are being lied to. So and basically, like I said, you're living in rebellion. So when you do see someone who's like, nah, I know I'm being told not to care about how many men that a woman has slept with, but I'm going to care because I want something to last long term. Because think about it, ladies. 80% of divorces, and I would even say even regular boyfriend-girlfriend situations or whatever it is, breakups are initiated by the woman. And it's not all, I wouldn't even say half of it's because, oh, the guy cheated or he treated you wrong. You women just act so entitled and are told that a man should worship the ground you walk on and do whatever you want, that if a man isn't doing that, you call him toxic or controlling, so you want to leave him. And you're normally being encouraged to leave by other bitter, angry, single friends that don't want to see you happy. Why do you think so many female friends stop being friends because one of their friends slept with their boyfriend or their ex? But anyways, that's what red pill basically is. One's biblical and one's not. God told men to be fruitful and multiply with their wives and take care of them and have a job and do all these things, which women want those things, but at the same time, you want the freedom as if you're still single to sleep around and talk to multiple men. And if a man dare have any standards and say, hey, I don't like that you still have guy friends, then he's called toxic. It's almost like Timon and Pumbaa. It's like a huge psyop that women are doing, and even some men that don't know any better. It's basically like Timon and Pumbaa, to where Pumbaa is much larger and stronger than Timon. But Timon has psychologically convinced Pumbaa that he's dumber than him, and that Timon is smarter, and Pumbaa wouldn't survive without Timon. And Pumbaa has fallen for that. And that's what women are trying to do, but it's not working, ladies. It's working on some men, and definitely it's working on your sons if you're a single mom, because he doesn't have any male authority nearby around to tell him otherwise. And what's crazy is that women are complaining that, oh, why aren't the real men stepping up? But while at the same time, simultaneously calling a man who's masculine and stepping up little penis energy, or a loser, or gay, and all this other kind of stuff. And that's another thing too. On one hand, you're saying there's not enough masculine men, but at the same time, women are the main champions for homosexuality. Men specifically, especially. So which is it, ladies? You want masculine men, or do you want gay men, or the in-between thing where it's like, oh, they're not gay, but then they'll do whatever I say, though, and they'll listen to my stories, or stories that aren't interesting, and all this other kind of stuff. That's why, in my personal observation, it's not even just my personal observation. A guy shouldn't listen to everything his woman tells him to do, or hardly anything for that matter. Once again, what I'm about to say applies to Christians only. If you believe in the Bible, don't you think it's strange, or interesting, I should say, that when God told Adam his punishment, he didn't just say, oh, because you ate of the fruit I told you not to, blah, 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 and then his punishment. He said, because you hearkened to the voice of your wife and ate the fruit that I told you not to. So I don't think he's necessarily saying never, ever listen to your wife about anything, but you must be cautious, because at the end of the day, even though Eve ate it first, the fact that Adam ate it is what caused sin to enter the world. Let that sink in. That's why ladies rarely ever take accountability for anything. Doesn't mean some men don't, but at least society for the most part forces them to. But there's a reason why ladies are not designed to take accountability without, even if you get caught getting a train run on you by 10 dudes and your husband walks in from a long day at work, no woman on the face of this earth is going to be like, oh, I was being a hoe, I was horny, I shouldn't have done it, I'm sorry. It's going to be, well, you weren't home enough, you didn't make me feel comfortable enough for me to share my sexuality preferences. You know what I mean? Any woman who's honest with herself will understand most women don't take accountability. Don't even lie to yourselves. And men, you definitely know this to be true. So red pill is simply, first of all, for the most part, biblical, without the fornication part. It's biblical. It's a patriarchy. And that's what women hate too. You're in rebellion, ladies. Be honest with yourself. You know you're not physically stronger than us, but so you try to use shaming tactics and psychological tactics to try to convince men to bow down to you, and it's not working. So you're kicking and scratching with your words, online especially, trying to bully men into being punked by you. We're designed to lead you, specifically a husband and a wife. But generally speaking, men are still designed to lead women. That's why for thousands of years, there's a male chief. In the smallest tribe in the middle of the jungle, it's still that way, because God made us stronger and more logical and less emotional. And that's not a bad thing. We're not better than you. We just fit together. That's how God made us, to fit together. But you women are trying to halfway be a man when it's convenient and halfway be a woman when it's convenient. But anyways, I'll talk about this more later. Over and out.